Elastic material. A material that is used when an extremely accurate impression is essential. The term elastomeric means having elastic or rubber-like qualities. It means remain in an elastic state after they set and removed from the mouth. Elastic impression material can be divided into hydrocolloid and elastomers. Hydrocolloid also can be divided into agar reversible and alginate, which is irreversible. Elastomers can be subdivided into polysulfide, silicon, and
Hydrocolloid.
hydrocolloid.
Hydro means water. Colla means glue. Oid means like. A solution is a homogeneous mixture consisting of a single phase. Suspension is a mixture of two phases. A colloid is a heterogeneous mixture of two phases, where the two phases are not easily differentiated.
Hydrocolloids. The colloid state represents a highly dispersed phase of fine particles within another phase, somewhere between solution and a suspension. The colloid can exist as a viscous liquid, known as a sol, or a solid, known as a gel. If particles are suspended in water, the suspension is called a hydrocolloid, hydrosol, or hydrogel.
Reversible hydrocolloid agar reaction. Gel transformed by heating into a sol, then transformed by cooling into a gel, which is physical reaction. Irreversible hydrocolloid alginate, sol transformed to gel by a chemical reaction. Types of hydrocolloid. Reversible hydrocolloid agar-agar. It is accurate for making master cast for removable partial denture. It is mainly used for duplication of cast. Irreversible hydrocolloid alginate are used for making study cast and master cast.
Agar, composition of agar. Agar seaweed extract. Purpose, colloidal particles as a basis of the gel. Potassium sulfate ensures set of gypsum material as an accelerator. Borax strengthens the gel. Alkyl benzoate antifungal agent. Water dispensing medium for the colloidal suspension. Types of reversible hydrocolloid. Tray material and syringe material. Tray material packaged in plastic tube. Each tube has enough material to fill a full arch and supplied with a water-cooled tray. Syringe material packaged in a plastic or glass cartridge that fit a syringe or in a preload syringe or preformed sticks that refill special hydrocolloid inlay syringes. Manipulation. Agar is normally conditioned before use, using a specially designed conditioning bath. This consists of 3 rooms. Each room contains water. The tube or syringe of the gel is first placed in 100 centigrade bath. This rapidly converts gel to sol, and the content of the tube become very fluid. The tube then transformed to 65 centigrade bath, where it is stored until required for use. A few minutes before impression is recorded, the contents are cooled to 45 centigrade, prevent burn and pulp depth. If material is maintained in 45 centigrade for a long, it slowly converts to gel. The conversion from salt to gels takes place slowly, takes many minutes, at mouth temperature, and it could be accelerated by cold water spray on the impression tray or by using water-cooled impression tray. The light bodies material is placed in the syringe, and the heavy bodies material is placed in the tray. Tubing is connected to the tray and to the water outlet for drainage. The light bodies material is expressed around the prepared tooth, and the dentist seats the tray. After recording an impression, it should be poured within 30 minutes. Short storage in a wet tissue in sealed bag. It's possible to reuse agar, however, a concern about cross-infection, alteration of the material properties, and incorporation of small gypsum chips. Expensive instrument, hydrophilic. Disadvantages of agar: initial expense, need special equipment, tears easily, dimensional is unstable, must be poured immediately, can only be used for a single cast, difficult to disinfect. Syneresis, a process by which the gel contracts and some of the liquid is squeezed out, forming an exudate on the surface. Evaporation, loss of water, which causes the material to shrink and impression is distorted. Imbibition, uptake of water. This will swell and distort the material. Alginate, irreversible hydrocolloid, the material that cannot return to a solution state after it becomes a gel. Alginate is the irreversible hydrocolloid most widely used for a preliminary gelation time. Once gelation starts, the impression material must not be disrupted because the growing fibrils will fracture and the impression would be significantly weakened. The gelation time best regulated by the amount of retarder added the during manufacturing. Altering the setting times of alginate. Water temperature must be between 18 and 24 centigrade. 1 minute of reduction in gelation time for each 10 centigrade of temperature decrease. Cold water can increase the setting time if additional time is needed for the procedure. Warmer water can reduce or shorten the setting time of the procedure. Water to powder ratio. An adult mandibular impression generally requires 2 scoops of powder and 2 measures of water. An adult maxillary impression generally requires 3 scoops of powder and 3 measures of water. Alginate widely used for diagnostic cast, primary impression for complete denture, partial denture, opposite jaw for crown and bridge, repairs of prostheses, provisional restoration, fluoride and bleaching agents, night guards, sport protector, not reproduce fine details, and low flow, not used for crown and bridge, inlay, or compatibility with gypsum. The surface of the gypsum cast may be too soft for waxing procedure, abraded easily. Immerse impression in the accelerator for gypsum product. Incorporate a plaster hardener or accelerator in the impression material like fluoride. of alginate impression material. Sodium and potassium alginate, bases of the gel, hydrogel former, dissolve in water and react with calcium ion. Calcium sulfate dihydrate, create irreversible gel with alginate to convert the solution into gel. Sodium phosphate, react with calcium sulfate and act as a retarder. Potassium sulfate or potassium fluoride to counteract the inhibiting effect of alginate on gypsum model or dye. Coloring and flavoring agent to provide colors. Organic glycol to coat the powder particle to minimize dust during dispensing. Chlorhexidine to provide self-disinfection. Chemical indicator changes the color with pH change to indicate different stages in the manipulation. Filler, a filler that add bulk to the material, control the stiffness of the said gel. Manipulation. When water and powder are mixed, a smooth plastic mass is formed and become an irreversible gel a few minutes after mixing. The manufacturer controls the setting time by amount of sodium phosphate in the powder. Advantages of alginate impression material: inexpensive, easy to use, hydrophilic, displace moisture, blood and fluid, stock used with the stock trays, mucostatic. Advantages: tears easily, dimensionally unstable, immediate pour, require immediate pour, single cast, lower detail reproduction, unacceptable for fixed processes, high permanent deformation, difficult to disinfect. Strength. The strength of alginate in compression and tearing are important, but the tear strength is more critical. Higher rates of removal deformation resulting in higher compressive and tear strength. The strength of alginate increases when mix is thick. The tear and compressive strength increase if the dentist let the impression longer time before the removal from the patient's mouth. Dimensional changes. Set alginate contain large amount of water, fuses water and shrinks if stored in air. Also it absorbs water and expands if stored in water. Storage in 100% humidity results in least dimensional changes, maximally 1 hour. Causes of distortion and dimensional changes of alginate. If an alginate impression is stored in water or in a very wet paper towel, the alginate will absorb additional water and expand. This condition is called imbibition. If an alginate impression remains in the open air, moisture will evaporate from the material, causing it to shrink and distort. This condition is called syneresis.